Hey everyone, it's Will, GamerDad, with another video for you. So in this video, we're going to try to earn Mila's personal VC Grasta. And so we have to go back to the ruins of the Citadel of Time and take on the Aegir or Aegir true version, or the harder version. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So I know there's a few different ways to beat this particular boss. I've decided to go element versus element, being that this is a water element. Even though the boss actually doesn't have any weaknesses to earth magic, it is vulnerable to it, and actually the spirit is actually weak to earth magic, so that will actually work out in our favor. Now you can see that turn 1, it knocks you away, as well as the spirit boosts Aegir, and the Aegir itself actually protects itself with the elemental type shield. Turn 2, it does a magical AoE, and basically what you really want to get rid of is the spirit. If you don't get rid of it early enough, it will re-establish Water Zone, which is going to make it very difficult for you both to damage the enemy and increase the enemy's attack against yourself. So in this case, the third turn is a 99% guaranteed hit, so you cannot prevent that. However, it won't kill you. So there is a little bit of room for error at that point. Now at this point, there is another AoE water type magical attack. So I would recommend having it int down if possible, or having tanks up there with natural high spirit in order to not take as much damage. This one is the Doom Water, and so obviously having Earth Zone does reduce water attacks by 50%, but in my experience, even with the Earth Zone up, if you don't have int down, you will take 3,000 to 4,000 damage, which actually can end many of your characters. So in this case, I do find that the new Persona 5 character Violet helps a lot in mitigating this, being that she does have a Brave Step, 25% int down, and guaranteed crit for all your members for one turn. I mean, the crit's not bad, but being that Mayumfa actually already has that in the Glorious T-Stock, it's more like redundant than anything else. However, one other thing I didn't mention, Violet's VC also increases water resistance by 30%, I believe. So that actually also helps very much against this boss. So depending on how you want to play the rotations, then you can use her to come in to protect you for 1 or 2 turns, especially if you do have the true VC Grasta. So you can see that turn 5 was a Disenchant, which has a single target water type attack, plus it removes all buffs and all buffs from your side. And then turn 6 is 2 fixed hits, 1000 slash, and then 800 slash. So 1800 slash altogether. Be aware that that is not mitigatable. It's guaranteed 1800. And we reset again with the 6 turn rotation. I actually believe that all 4 of these kind of true spirits do have the same kind of rotation, although they obviously have different elements. So keep that in mind when you are fighting it. Anyways, the whole point at this point is they do have 2 HP stoppers, one at around 20-ish% and one at about 80%. If you've seen any fights of the twins, or you've done some twins yourself, you'll know that if you want to wait, you can actually push the enemy over the edge and then have it re-establish zone, and then you'll have your zone setter in the back and rotate it back in. So you can see that as soon as we brought it to the HP stopper, they brought back 2 spirits, and then you would want to actually rotate your zone setter in right away, to mitigate any damage, because each of those spirits do single target attacks as well. I didn't also mention that not only do they help, with zone setting, they actually boost the physical resistance of each other. So the boss Aegir boosts type resistance with a type shield, you can see it on him, and then the spirits actually boost power and physical resistance. So you can see all those multiple symbols, and so the more longer you leave them up, the more dangerous they are, and you could really just, like I said, I've tried this a few different times, and actually as you know, this is all new content, so there aren't any guides out there. I'm sure there are a lot of other videos of people beating it. However, I took my time in conquering this one only because, like I said, I had a lot of other projects, as you've seen my work in uploading lots of different videos. So again, I apologize for the delay in getting all this out. Also, if you caught my last video on my farming results, I played around with this one without AS Myris, and I did find that with the lack of AoE DPS, it actually made a big difference in not being able to clear those spirits on time. Thereby, I get wiped in 1 or 2 turns. So I do find the use of the Transform Claw and or the Earth Spiral to do really well in wiping out those spirits with an AF or even with a couple of hits. If you've watched, I actually saved up the Transform Claw, which is the AoE, because at 3 stacks, it'll do 4 hits total, 1 for the regular and 3 additional for the 3 stacks. So if you are waiting for the spirits to arrive, make sure you re-establish Earth Zone, and then you do that attack so that you can do as much damage to those spirits as possible. Because keep in mind, when they have the Water Zone up, your Earth attacks will do less. And not only that, will obviously not charge the bar as much. AS Myers also has naturally higher speed than most of your other teammates, so you really want to time your VCs in and out to kind of play around with it so that you understand that she's going to attack first, and then time your speed of your other members. Especially speed is really important with timing of Mayumfa, and Mayumfa is fairly quick. I'll show you the loadout of my gear at the end so you can see her base speed. Though Violet is a little bit less fast, and Deidre is actually the slowest of this team. Same with AS Nagi. In this case of Serene as well as AS Nagi, I wouldn't consider them extremely useful in this battle, although it just allows you having more DPS. And again, in my experience, if you make a mistake and lose 1 unit, say, to one of the single target DPS hits, then you can still carry on with 5 members. As long as you don't lose Mayufa and, in my opinion, AS Myers, you probably can still survive with 4 units, being that you have one zone setter, obviously. You have AS Myers being the huge AoE clear. I will say that Serene also with the Ground Razor, especially if you use Blood Cruelty ahead of time to apply pain to everybody, then her Invigorating Fog speeds her up, and then the Ground Razor is enhanced by pain, so you can really do a lot of damage that way. And if you need additional help in clearing those spirits with some AoEs, then you can do it that way instead of using an AF bar. In this case, we don't have a full AF bar, but we're going to use as much as we can just to shorten the battle here. So remember, there is a second HP stopper at 20% left or 80% down, and if depending on how much power you have on your team, you may want to do it like quickly like this, or if you don't have enough, you kind of can slowly whittle it down. Make sure you rotate characters to the back. Obviously, you'll find your spots because, like I said, certain areas, certain moves you won't die to, like the 99%. The knockback on turn 1 is also one where you can do something where you won't die. So just watch out for turn 1, where it's the knockback plus re-establishing type shield on Aegir, where you won't die. And then, like I said, turn 3 is only a 99% hit. So if you have a healer up front, then you can heal right away. Or if you can activate a quick AF after establishing zone, then you can use healing moves during the AF to kind of kill off, like I said, if there are any spirits left, or even just to heal and apply debuffs. Remember that you will need an int debuff by turn 4, which is the one right after the 99%, otherwise you will die. And don't forget that turn 2 also has a weaker AoE attack, and so, like I said, make sure you try to get Violet in on turn 2 so that her VC protects you, especially if you have the true VC grasp. So don't forget the VC moves last for 2 turns instead of 1 if you have the true VC Grasta, and then you'll be able to be protected for a couple of turns. In this case, note that we did bring Aegir down to the last 20% left, and so re-established zone. So you only really have 1 or 2 turns. If you're wondering when the enemy will be re-established in zone if you leave Spirit Cell, I believe it's turn 3 or 4 of the rotation. I can't remember because I died too many times letting that happen, so I'm not sharing that footage with you. But if you are experimenting on your own, I'm sure you'll have your fair share of failures where you're just gonna unfortunately get hit and take a massive step. In the turn, if you're wondering why I didn't use AS Myers to bring in Mayumfa more quickly, AS Myers really is our DPS, and we really want to have her up front as much as possible. Mayumfa's end of turn heal really helps a lot here, and I think with all of these 4 spirit fights, you really want a healer or someone who can heal at the end of every turn. AS Yuna, for example, would come to mind for water. If you have other zones that you're planning to use, you'll need some sort of healer. Otherwise, I mean, you can use a tank and kind of rotate back and forth, but every turn you're pretty much vulnerable to all hits except for maybe like turn 1 and turn 3, and either that or it's going to take you forever to fight the boss. I mean, in terms of fights. I don't believe that, I know a lot of people can grind out like a 30 or 40 minute boss fight. Just for the sake of, shall I say, fun, I wouldn't really, want to upload something so long because, let's be honest, we want to have a fight that's relatively challenging but not too crazy where it's not fun anymore, right? Like the twins, one of the reasons I haven't gotten back into fighting the twins is the fact that I have to watch for the HP stopper. Like, I'm not going to measure pixels in order to see when the 25%, 50%, and 70% HP stopper is, and just trying to trigger the zone while automatically bringing in a zone setter to counteract that was extremely painful. And I know there's better ways out there, and I probably have all the units that's required to slog it out, but I'm going to go back there when it's more comfortable, and I hope you guys understand my views on that. Anyways, looks like after all that, we did activate another AF and we wiped the spirits and we reset zone. Pretty much at this point, it is a cakewalk. All we have to do is not screw up, and there's only a sliver of life yet left. We're going to have a bar in 1 or 2 turns, and then we'll just end it right here. Back to having healing on these kind of DPS teams when fighting these super bosses. In this case, note that we have a lot of duplication, and that's really, really important. You want to have, if you can have 1 or 2 healers, you can have some DPS, you can have some crit setters, pain setters. You might want to have more than 1 or 2 of them, because a lot of times in your front 4, depending on what kind of rotation and what you're up against, if one of your characters can cover more than 1 role, it really, really helps. So, like, Myra's not only being one of the top DPS in this fight, the fact that she can heal for over 2,000 on top of Mayufa's end of turn heal for 1,500 or whatever, it really helps make the life easier for us. Also, keep in mind that Myra's AS did have access to Earthwall if you wanted to go that way. Alright, so we got a gold badge, 50 stones, and that battle is finally over. Okay, so here's my loadout as usual. You can see that I'm pretty grass stepped up. I have mostly pain and elemental grasta on with a predominance for pain. In the case of Violet, I left all pain because if I can switch her, I can actually switch her to non-elemental attacks as well, being that she has the combo attack, and so she can go into my non-elemental slash team, which will be just easier to be, instead of switching grasta back and forth. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.